Hello everybody, in this video we're going to be going over the final paper presentation. I'm just going over um, some of the points that I made for this final. First question was, what have I learned in this class? In this class, I've learned what does it mean to be motivated, how I can be a servant leader, um, the purpose of goal setting, so what goals do I need to set, and then how can I use all these tools combined to be successful in my future career. Looking at the first prompt, motivation. Motivation is just defined as the direction and intensity of effort that someone puts into something. And I was having to look at myself going through this class when we were going through the motivation portion, and I was having a hard time sometimes looking back and understanding whether I was motivated for the right reasons or not. Put an example on here for this slide of my freshman year of high school and my decision to play football. I was, in the moment, I really wanted to do it, even though I had a promising career already for running. I was really good in 8th grade, and I could have continued that on to my freshman year in high school. Instead, football just seemed like something cool to do. So I went ahead and did it, and because of that, my body paid the price for it. I gained a lot of weight and muscle, and that slowed my times down a lot for my sophomore year. For my sophomore year during cross country and track, after I quit my freshman year of football, and because of that, because I wasn't motivated correctly in the right ways to be playing football, I didn't look long term and think to myself, why am I motivated to play this? That cost me a lot during high school. So that's when I came to the conclusion that motivation requires a lot more knowledge about yourself, of knowing why do I want to do this, because that's going to end up affecting the end result in the long run. And motivation done correctly, going more into my running and my swimming background. So my motivation to swim, run cross country and track led to a better physical ability than most people do have, and it allowed me to learn a lot about work ethic. And this is because those two sports have a lot to do with endurance, and most other people don't have that insight to what it means to endure that amount of miles, that amount of laps, or even just not being able to take a rest when they want to. And another section of motivation that I believe I've done correctly was my motivation to join the military. And that let me join a legacy in my family and to understand a lot of things that a lot of people will never understand that have never served before. And this is only done because I've seen the results that my father's produced, my brother has produced, and it was just something that I felt was the right decision. And ultimately, it was one of the better decisions that I've made. Going on to the next point, looking at servant leadership. And this concept is where a leader voluntarily puts themselves into a position to serve their team or their followers, or however you may say it. And this concept I've struggled with a little bit of putting into action, because every time I've thought of being a servant leader, I've always thought of it as you'll do whatever it takes to help your teammate. And I just couldn't understand how you'd be considered a leader if you're always serving others, because then people would take advantage of that situation and just have them, they would just do whatever they wanted to do, because, I mean, you're there to help them. So I've always felt that the role of the leader was taken away, and it allowed more chaos to be implemented in those kind of situations. But this is where I realized that there was a difference. I learned this later on during college. Being nice versus being kind, and the difference between that. As a leader, you're not supposed to be nice to everybody. You're supposed to be kind, and this entails, if you're kind, you're gonna do what's right for everybody, even if it means you got to get onto somebody, or you have to stop maybe serving somebody because they need to learn how to do something for themselves. And that's where I've seen the fine line of being a slave versus being a servant. And I would say that's just defined of how constructive the leader can be by serving their teammates. How are they molding their teammates by setting an example and having their teammates see them and not using them to their advantage, but looking at them and saying, "Oh, I want to be more like that person." So it's more of a good influence instead of being a slave to everybody else. And if you could read that picture right there, where it says, "Servant leadership is all about making the goals clear, then rolling your sleeves up and doing whatever it takes to help people to help people win. In that situation, they don't work for you, you work for them." And I think that really helped me um, with narrowing down when it's talking about making goals clear. Um, so you're not just blindly serving, you have a goal and you're working towards that by serving them, and you're always keeping that goal in mind. For the third point, going into goal setting, this is one I was a lot more familiar with, as um, this is something I've done basically my whole life in athletics. So goals are essential to athletes as they help focus the athletes on whatever actions they need to take to be successful, and they're able to motivate and encourage them when they meet these goals. It's a sense of accomplishment. Um, as I've said before, goal setting is something I've done frequently in my life, and now I have to do it in professional settings outside of athletics. And that's just to go with any job too. Every job has some kind of goal that they're trying to meet, and it's a tool that helps cut out distractions whenever, um, um, so that nothing else can um, come in the way, and also streamline solutions to how to get to the end goal. So this is kind of I guess brainstorming would be a part of this, but it's just steps that you need to hit, and it helps expedite the process in which you hit them. Oh, excuse me. For the last section, was how will I apply these things in my career? And I started taking these steps definitely after I graduated high school, because I was because 2020 was a uncertain year, so I knew I had to get a more solid understanding of what I wanted to do, because everything was in uncertainty around me. So I decided that I was to join the military right out of high school. I was working a job at Chick-fil-A for a little bit before I decided this would be a good stepping stone to whatever I wanted to accomplish next. And with that, the military helped open a lot of doors that I would have not had open if I had never joined. And I've gone on a lot of trips, training trips, and that has helped me to expand my skills where a lot of other companies or agencies are looking to use those skills. And I also went to college after that, after I was done training, and came back home, as I'm in National Guard, so I had a little more leeway with that. And with this, I was able to focus on my grades in college to improve my standings when I graduate. Because a lot of companies, especially companies that pay well, they will look at your grades, and that was something I wasn't interested in too much in high school. I just got enough. I did enough to get by. I had A's, B's, a couple of C's, but college is where I really focused on improving my grades and making sure that my resume would stand out above everyone else's. That's another reason why I also did um, the military, because that also gave me a leg up when I knew other companies or agencies would be looking at my resume. And then a big part of me also going to college was I just wanted to pursue athletics, and that was a big dream of mine ever since I was in high school, and that was cut short a little bit during 2020, but thankfully I had a coach who was gracious enough to let me come in even after I'd done all my training, and I was a little bit out of shape, but he gladly took me in, and with that, it just helped me to maintain that athletic mindset, and also gave me a lot of experience with how college sports work and also managing time between doing jobs in the military, school, and then athletics. And overall, these were all steps going towards Homeland Security. And HSI was a big thing ever since I would say, in 8th grade or freshman year of high school. So my father was HSI, and then my commander for my unit was also HSI. The things that I saw them doing and working in were always something that I aspired to do. My dad would always come back home and tell cool stories about things, about going to the drop houses or certain cases he would be on. And military was one thing I really wanted to do, and then HSI was another thing. I figured, well, if I can do both, I'll do National Guard and military. That'll give me a leg up, and then be able to go to Homeland Security. So, again, starting after high school, when I was a little more mature, that's when I realized, hey, if I hit all these steps and I'm motivated to do all of these things, then the ultimate goal of going to HSI would be accomplished. So in conclusion, after going through the paper, um, this was meant to show how motivation, servant leadership, and goal setting are important tools to use when helping out other athletes as well as myself when setting up future careers. And this course definitely took a deep dive into the reasons of why someone should be motivated whenever you're pursuing something that could be the rest of your life, as well as help me understand a lot more about what servant leadership should look like, and the separation of terms when it came to what a slave was and versus what a servant was. That and as well as the goal setting, and it just helped me affirm that I was making some of the right decisions, and it helped me also look back and see what wrong decisions I had made when I was setting goals. So that is the end of this video, and I hope you enjoyed. Thank you.